I've got to be honest, the way that the week had unfolded and the players that I knew that were going to be unavailable for us, I did think the dominoes were falling into place to maybe see our first defeat. The guys, I thought, put on a terrifically spirited display. Without a doubt, created the best moments. Were we at our best with the ball? I think there's a question mark over that. There were periods in the game where we looked a little bit scruffy. Certainly, in terms of standards here, we fell a little bit below that. But it wasn't through lack of trying. It wasn't through lack of effort. The pleasing points, of course, are the clean sheet. The unbeaten run continues here. And for sure, we created the best moments. And I think that's all we can consider when we go into a game.
Yeah, you talked about Gary, maybe not the best outing in terms of being on the ball, coming in attack. Was it anything about San Jose, given you already knew how they line up, you played them before? What exactly might have led to that?
Yeah, I don't think so much that. If you look at the changes that had occurred in important positions along the back line, some influential players out of the group, a lot of experience out of the group. Maybe the 2-week break, you lose a little bit of rhythm and momentum. But there wasn't anything about their group in particular that caught us by surprise. We knew just how effective their front line can be. I mean, exceptionally good front line. The informed striker in the league that was kept under, real wraps by the back line. Like Montero an awful lot. Very, very talented player, very industrious player as well. And the two wide players, if given the opportunity, are more than capable. And we saw a glimpse of that from Cal just before half-time, down the left-hand side. So there's a balance to be had. I think we spoke about it in the pre-game. What do we need to do to find the best opportunities? And what must we make sure we do at the other end of the field to deny a very, very capable front line? In terms of chances, as I've said, we certainly had the better chances. We had the better moments. But they actually controlled better periods of the game and, managed the ball slightly better. So, look, if you'd have asked me before the game, I'd have taken exactly what we had, the best chances. And on nights like tonight, somehow, some way, you've got to try and find a way just to squeeze one home. And you come away from that saying, OK, we've overcome some real problems and we've still got our 3 points. But it just wasn't to be.
Gary, 2 questions from me. First of all, I'd like to have you talk about the return from Joe, which I think is pretty good. And also, it seems like many times it was kind of free for Taylor to go off his side and get over there. Do you think the choosing of options from him in terms of crosses he made, is that something that perhaps would have caused a different outcome if he would have chosen a different way?
Yeah, of course. I'll answer that bit first. I thought the first half especially, it caused some serious problems down the left-hand side of the field, and their fullback really didn't have an answer for his energy and his pace. He picked up some terrific positions. The fact that we obviously play a very different system to them, they were some very good moments. And to your point, of course, you're very much, the end product, goal, creative opportunity, no goal, is based on choice and quality. Did we find the right type of delivery? Did we find the right area? Did we have enough players into those aggressive areas? What I would say on that is the best chances we had were in transition or counter-attacks. Because in the first period, we just didn't manage the ball well enough. As I said, great chances, good opportunities, and with a group that was missing some very important players. I was delighted with some areas of our game for sure. With regards to Joe, I thought Elliot was magnificent for the 2 games that he came in. Joe's been magnificent for 2 years for us, or more. And it was my decision to put Joe back into the group and to now find ourselves in a position where we have 2 excellent goalkeepers. Okay. Elliot's in a great position, and he will get opportunities for sure.
Apologies, Ben.
Yeah, Gary, 2 for me. You've talked about missed chances. It feels like before the international break, you guys were kind of hitting a stride. Do you feel at all like maybe it would have helped to just keep playing through it and kind of keep that form up? And then unrelated, but Dave Romney was out of the squad. Can you just give an update on him?
Yeah. Well, I'll pick that one up quickly. Yes, it was tweeted out, health and safety protocols, and that's exactly what it is. So I won't go into that any further. As far as the break, the rhythm, we can certainly look at that, but I think it's a combination of things, international players unavailable, unfortunately, a slight hiccup in preparations with bodies that were missing, were due to play and then couldn't. That always has a little bit of an impact. And I think for the first time, if you look down the line, we only had 5 outfield players on the bench. Now, I can only bring 5 players on, so, it's not the biggest disappointment in the world. But when you look at that, you can see some of the difficulties that we have encountered tonight. And based on that, I think the guys have put up a sterling performance here tonight and really, as I said, on another day, might well have taken all 3 points.
We're going to go to the Zoom now. Tim.
Hey, Gary, you mentioned the quality of chances that you guys were able to generate, especially for you on the touchline. How frustrating is it when you see those chances and then see Marcinkowski come up big again and again?
Yeah, it's always disappointing. I mean, the first opportunity that came along was Luke's early in the first half or midway through. One-on-one with a goalkeeper that, honestly, choices. I think if it had gone left, there was no recovering defender. He goes right, touches a little bit too heavy. Rest we know about. So we're talking about fine lines here, and there were a couple of really good chances, as we well know, but just not clinical enough in those moments. I'd be more disappointed, Tim, if we weren't creating those chances, and we'd come off tonight, worrying about how we were going to generate the type of energy and moments that we've seen so many times here.
We'll go with Drake with the next question.
Yeah, no, just curious, obviously unrelated to the game, but perhaps could have affected it. What did you think of just the grass and how the field was shaping up tonight? And what about that come to be the way it looks?
Yeah, look, Adam's done a magnificent job. I think, and I'm not sure that that's really, part and parcel with the way that anyone's, dealt with the field. From my limited understanding, it's the transition of particular grass. And it's disappointing. It played well. I think aesthetically, I obviously wasn't at a high level. You probably, depending on where you were sitting, it maybe looked a little bit worse than it was, because you just got some brown spots where the grass is changing over. But yeah, it's disappointing because it's been of such high calibre. But I don't think it affected the game.
Tim.
Hey, Gary, don't make us accuse you of being an XG sicko with this chances created rather than finishing thing. But when you look at some of the guys who you have been missing, especially Randall, I know you mentioned in the midweek that he's getting closer to coming back. How big of a boost will he be when he's able to return? Because he is one of those guys who turns chances into goals, I think, at a pretty high level. Yeah,
it's not just that. I think in moments, like we've had to navigate, you realise, not probably that we didn't before, just the importance of not just Randall, but other individuals that we're missing. Randall in particular, is one of those guys not only that can create, but also very, very capable of maintaining pressure. But there were also periods, I'd have to say more so, there were periods in the first half where his ability and quality to manage the ball, you know, a choice, a first touch, a change of pace to go beyond someone, those little moments can change dynamics in a game. It can put defenders on their back foot. It gives forwards more confidence to make a positive run. And there were a couple of moments where we, like I said, we should have done better. We didn't. And, you know, certainly someone like Randall may well have taken a little bit more advantage of that. But he's very, very close. I think he'll be joining in this week. You know, Till's not a million miles away. We get our international boys back. And, you know, as we look at next weekend, I think the picture will look very, very different in terms of bodies available to what you've seen today.
One more question from Ben.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about Dan. We've seen him play left wing back, right wing back last year, and now like right center back and left center back. Just what do you make of him and putting in a shift basically where he's asking to show up?
I thought it was terrific tonight. Absolutely terrific. I think it's testimony to his abilities, number one, his adaptability, of course. As he's, you know, growing into his career at 32, I think he is, it's not uncommon for players with their experience to be able to fulfil roles that they maybe haven't done before. And Daniel's no different. He's, you know, his right foot is decent, nowhere near as good as his left foot, but he has some balance to his play, hence why he played right side against Louisville. And it wasn't even a question tonight with him playing left side centre back. There was no concern there. In fact, I actually thought it gave us a slightly different dimension in an attacking sense. We didn't quite see that. But what it did allow was Taylor to get very high in that first half, and you know, maybe the support that Daniel gave him, even the guidance from a role that he's played himself. He can guide Taylor a little bit more. You know, he shows his true worth yet again. And look, the last thing I want to say is, because I know it's the last question, you know, we want to win every game here. There's no two ways about it. We've had a right go at it tonight. We were unable, obviously, to convert any of those opportunities. But I think you see the pride that the guys have in keeping this unbeaten run intact. You know, there could well have been, you know, a bit of a banana skin here tonight against a more than capable group. And I think the guys have put in a very decent performance.
Thank you.